What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl, it's Leanne. I'm getting blissed out here with our Heart-Based Community podcast series, with rotating in the community with wonderful information to help you, to help serve you, and connect you with information that can broaden and expand the horizons of your consciousness. Today, I have with me my brother, Andrew Rezmer from Conscious Living Radio. He has his upcoming event, Spirit Plant Medicine, coming November 4th, 5th, and 6th to UBC. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes. So we're here to share, reflect, trust, learn, and love. Tell me more about this wonderful upcoming event and where it all started from.
Well, it started with about 15 or so years ago when I actually had my first ayahuasca experience. Prior to that, I was against any mind-altering substances that potentially can change the way I perceive the world. So I haven't touched alcohol for the first 30 years of my life. I haven't ever tried cannabis or any other type of substances. And until one day, a friend of mine from Vancouver invited me to his place. And he said that there's going to be a shaman from Peru who's going to offer a ceremony. And since I didn't know anything about ayahuasca, I inquired, and he says, "Oh, it's a brew. It's like a tea made from two plants from the jungle." I said, "Oh, tea ceremony, cool. I like tea. I don't mind having some." So little did I know that it was one of the most profound experiences of my life at the time. And first few hours, I actually, what I perceived, I went to hell, and I started getting comfortable there. I thought that I belonged there because of the way I lived my life. And after that, I had privilege to go to heaven and realize that this is actually where we all come from, where this place of unconditional love and kindness and abundance and beauty and creativity and love and forgiveness and all those powerful values, emotions, feelings, and ways of living. And this because of this how powerful this experience was, I decided to do some more exploration in that area. I started going to Peru and had more experiences. I tried different psychedelics or plant medicines, and then I realized how much I was misinformed and how much other people, communities, governments are wrong their perception is. So I decided with some friends to change that, and that's how the first conference started. It was about 13 years ago or so. Mm-hmm. And I have two amazing right now partners who are doing most of the work. One of them is Stephen Gray, who is responsible to decide on the theme. And this year's theme is, how these plants can help with this new world, the new changing and world that we're living in after the experience with what happened over the last couple of years. And he reads all the books, he talks to all the potential speakers, he decides on topics that would be appropriate for our theme every year. He makes all the arrangements with the presenters. And Mark Heron is another partner who is doing all the operational stuff. He's creating a website, he's doing interviews on Conscious Living Radio, he's arranging all the tickets, vendors, and so on. Every year for the last few years, this conference has been sold out because it's probably one of the biggest conferences of this type in the world. MAPS, Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, they do a bigger conference, but their conferences are only every 4, 5, or 6 years. We have been doing it every year in Vancouver, and this year is no different. It's going to be, it's slightly different because for 2 years we couldn't do live conferences. So we're going back to live from online, and this is our 11th live conference. And every year we have about 20 or more speakers, presenters, and they usually range from kind of because there are other events, similar events in the world. Some of those events are putting more emphasis on medicinal value of some of those plants, and those are doctors or people who are in the medical industry trying to have educate themselves on how to extract different components from different plants and how to use it in different challenges, related challenges. And others are more seeing this as a more kind of holistic approach, that the plants has spirit, that has wisdom, and each of those groups make fun of each other usually, or undermine their contribution to this topic. What we try to do with Mark and Stephen at Spirit Plant Medicine Conference in Vancouver is to bring those two areas together, and we usually are successful. We have people from each of those groups learn and recognize the value that they bring to this conversation. And so it is 4th, 5th, and 6th of November this year. There are going to be some pre-conference events. All these details can be found on spiritplantmedicine.com, and I'm sure you're going to send the link as well with your recording.
Yeah. So we have there, you have a bunch of musicians there too that are coming. What else is, you have speakers, musicians, how does it flow? Tell us a little bit more about the event.
Well, it starts with an opening ceremony where we usually bring some local native First Nation representative to kind of open the conference, and after that we have presentations throughout those 3 days, and between presentations we try to bring some artistic expressions that are usually inspired by spirit plants to help people kind of settle in their emotional and mental state. So to receive this information, we have vendors who share their offers on the outside of the conference room. They have some samples, they have services that are related to spirit plants, to ceremonies, and so on. So it's a quite a powerful experience for most people who come. They meet others who are interested in the topic. They meet those who are actually involved in either organizing ceremonies here in North America or in the let's say in Peru or other countries. There are people who are helping post-ceremony integration or other challenges that may have been arise during the ceremony. So there's quite a big range of different people, businesses, organizations that are associated with this whole topic of spirit plants. Some people call it psychedelic intentions. So there's different names for it, but I call them spirit plants.
So you've talked about ayahuasca. Maybe talk about other experiences you've had. I think the important thing, other than the whole event, like spirit plant has also been a personal thing for you. Have you had any personal success in helping other people by guiding them towards it, or do you have any personal things you want to talk about in that area?
Well, I don't consider myself a guide. I consider myself more like an explorer. But yes, there are friends and people who have joined me on this path. We have organized some trips to Peru where we had different experiences with ayahuasca, ibogas, San Pedro, peyotes, and all different plants. And the difference, I think, between what sometimes those mind-altering substances are being used for. Sometimes some of them, like MDMA, could be used, or ecstasy could be used in a more party environment. Cannabis could be used for relaxation or chilling out, or other LSD for having fun. And there's nothing wrong with it if there is intentional use. For me, the most valuable for me is actually using it in more kind of intentional, ceremonial way. And that's what I'm trying to learn, because those plants have been used for thousands of years, like ayahuasca Some scientists have evidence or found evidence that has been used for over 10,000 years. Mushrooms have been used for a very long time. Peyote, San Pedro. There's iboga in Africa. Every continent has their unique spirit plants that have been used by indigenous cultures for thousands of years, and in a way that is intended to help us heal our emotional, psychological, mental limitations, to connect us with the beyond our ego, beyond our limited point of view or limited perception of what reality is. And that's my passion. That's what I've been doing for many years. That's what I invite those who are interested to share those type of experiences with me. And to the point where my partner, my person that I'm sharing my life with, my wife, we have sometimes when we have challenge in our relationship, we devote a day or a couple of days where we take one of those substances, and our intention is to understand each other, to connect on a deeper level. We call it an open heart ceremony, where we feel that we can share deeper, be more loving, more kind, more compassionate towards each other, more forgiving, more understanding. So it could be, a huge revelation where, one's perception of life is changed, or it could be just a intentional sharing an experience together with intention to deepen one's relationship with another person. So there is a huge range of uses for those type of plants. There's huge evidence on how, for example, psilocybin mushrooms help with creating new brain connections, how some cannabis is helping with cancer or with other challenges, health-related challenges. There's literally thousands of different research materials that we try to find and share this information during the conference. So it's a 3-day conference. It's not a 1 hour or 2 hour. It's a quite a extensive opportunity to meet hundreds of people and listen learn from the probably some of the most experienced expert on the planet, because that's the whole purpose, is to bring those people to the same room so they can learn and interact, and we can learn from them as well.
That sounds wonderful. What's coming to me through all of this, and like as I'm hearing and as I know, the intent consciously is consciousness and the ability to expand that multi-universe within us. You said that you've done ayahuasca over 22 times? How many times was it?
Over 30.
Yeah. So why don't you share a little bit about your growth with the plant? Because I really feel myself personally with my growth with meditation, or my growth with yoga, or my growth, I had smoked marijuana probably about a decade as a teenager, and how that shifted. And then my perception of doing it recently after a full awakening in all my chakras. And like, there's just so much that we have in our growth, and how much a little bit can affect us even as we're more expansive in consciousness. Why don't you talk about some of those, the journey? And that would be a really beautiful highlight.
Yeah, so I told you a little bit about my first experience. I remember the first experience when I went to hell, especially when I was in hell, or at least I believe that's what hell looks like at that time. I believed that it's kind of irreversible, that sins that I've committed over my youth, or lies, or lack of understanding, or pain or suffering I've created for others or myself, was sending me there. But throughout this process, I realized that the purpose of reliving those experiences, or feeling the pain that I may have not allowed myself to feel before, or suffering, or the pain that I've created for others, The purpose of that is to learn and to change and to expand and to grow. And when that happens, then the experience of heaven, of bliss, of pleasure, of love is an outcome of this growth, learning, forgiveness, understanding, and change. And almost every time when I have different experience with different plants, being mushroom, iboga, San Pedro, or peyote, or ayahuasca, or whatever else, including cannabis. As long as there's intention, I feel that I'm learning and growing. Although sometimes it doesn't show up in the way that I was hoping for or expecting, but at the end of the day, at the end of the ceremony, when I look back, I realized that may have not been the way I was hoping for, but this was the way I needed to get the whatever my intention was, the growth, understanding, or whatever challenge I was dealing with at the moment. So ayahuasca is something that I would. It's a very, or iboga or any other type of medicine. It's important in my belief to do it in a proper way, with proper support, with people who are committed to this work. It's easy right now. There is a ayahuasca tourism. There is sometimes treated more like another business and another way to monetize this opportunity, because there's so much hunger among the younger population, especially to learn something or experience something deeper or more meaningful. So it is essential to do some research. I don't want to promote for everybody to to go and look for a ayahuasca and start having ayahuasca over the next 2 days or 3 days or a week. It is essential to learn what the difference are, different ways to administer it. What is the support this offer before, during, and after? What is the integration process going to look like? Because having this experience and not knowing how do I come back? I was in heaven, I was in hell. This world, that we live in right now, this physical expression is not going to ever be as beautiful or as blissful as being in heaven, or as painful as being in hell. So how do we learn from it? How do we incorporate in daily life? How do we become better human beings because of those experiences? That's a skill. That's a set of different powerful experiences that someone who is going to. It's important to know who is going to be there to hold you and help you and guide you through this process. So either someone is going to do it in North America or Europe, or in South America, or in Peru, or wherever else. It is important to find out what is the motivation, how much experience they have, how do they know the language that you speak. Just going to Peru, sometimes you can end up with a very experienced shaman who doesn't speak your language, and he or she is not going to be able as much to help you with the integration process. So all those are very important. Who else is going to be during the ceremony? What kind of challenges or intentions they have? Because if there's one person who is going through a very challenging time, that may impact others in the room as well. So all those is so. I think the purpose of the conference is to bring awareness to all those different aspects that are related to working with spirit plants. What to look for, how to find, what questions to ask, where to go. If it goes the way you expect, what to do with it. If it goes the way you didn't expect, what to do with it. So that's why I feel that anyone who even is remotely interested in the topic, I would highly invite you to come, either physically. That's the always best, meeting other people, seeing them, being in front of someone who is committed, passionate, who devoted a life on studying and exploring those topics. Or if you are not in Vancouver in November, we do have an online version. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can still participate, you can still learn, you can still grow, you can still be more prepared for this path, if you ever feel want to take the first step.
That's very powerful. Naturally, I was just observing and listening, discovering the inner witness took me, 20 years of meditation. So when I look at anybody that's going to jump into an ayahuasca, they hear it from a friend, they're having a life problem, whatever it is. I still feel we're always in the right place. So life lesson, we're always in the right place, because contrast is already creating the gateway for all of the other great things that are to happen. No matter how much we fall, if we're not dying, we're getting stronger. Right. And I think that's an important thing, because you have two things here: is the preparation process, but are we ever truly ready? And then we have the availability to go deeper and to dive, to make it a journey like you have, like 30 times of it. That means that there's a level of depth, just like with a lover, you go deeper, 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 you unveil, you observe yourself, you observe that medicine, you observe life, you observe how to hold space in the community, being yourself while accepting all of this, and maybe selling a bottle of shampoo, or selling a piece of clothing, and yet the mind and the consciousness is so expansive at the same time. So yes, I can relate 100% to all this, because we're both in this conscious realm of dedicating our life consciously. We're both have the ability to share the importance of getting information like this out there for other people who may come into a road or a moment of contrast, or come into a moment of alignment. Right. And so I share that reminder of like developing the inner witness, watching the breath, whatever you're doing. And so much gratitude to you in being so strong for 13 years, to saying, yes, this is important to me. This is important for the community. I want to hold a safe container where abundance of information is coming out. And that's the spiritplantmedicine.com, right?
Spiritplantmedicine.com. That's right.
Yes, spiritplantmedicine.com. So listeners, this video, we will share it as much as we can, wherever it's reaching, whoever it's reaching. We want to build that bridge with your life, and getting more wonderful information and opportunity to go to events where you can grow and learn with other people in the community as a we.
And for those who feel that 3 days is too much, they don't want to spend the price of the ticket. They don't want to devote as much time and effort and energy into sitting in the chair for 3 days. We have recorded all of our conferences, all 11 years of it, live conferences and then online conferences. So there is hundreds of hours of very specific presentations that are available on the site as well. So if there's a specific topic or specific medicine or specific challenge or specific issue that you feel you'd like to explore and learn, most likely most of those topics have been covered during our conferences. So I just wanted to bring that awareness that I'm not asking everybody to spend, to cancel all their appointments and spend 3 days at the conference at UBC, at the University of British Columbia, or online. If you have specific questions, there may be answers right on our website.
Okay, so that's 13 years of wisdom. It's basically a library of spirit plant medicine. That's fantastic. I think that's a very important thing as you're growing and learning. Anybody that's coming out to this event, you have access to that. You have access to grow with the community. And like we've had in our previous podcast is, what are we contributing to the we? What are we contributing to the oneness? What are we contributing to saying it's all information? A lot of it's borrowed so that we can reflect into our own experience, but it's available.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. So I really appreciate that. Thanks for that highlight, because I know you're a fountain of wisdom. You have that ability to offer that with Conscious Living Radio. And it's another reason why I'm here today, is make sure that I'm growing and sharing wonderful content. So thanks for showing up. Yeah, we'll put some links with this related to the event, and also to the library of Spirit Plant Medicine. That's on the website also, right?
It is on the website, yeah.
And Conscious Living Radio, the ongoing links, they're all there. So good to be with you. And remember, friends, mark your calendar for November 4th, 5th, and 6th, and check out spiritplantmedicine.com.
Thank you so much, yeah.
Namaste.